Hello, this is Darshan Bhatt from Glovista Investments with our market outlook for the week of November 30th. This past week, the equity markets rallied strongly with the S&P 500 index up 2.27% and the Nasdaq index up 2.95%. If the bulk of these recent gains hold, the US markets are on track to post the best November returns since 1928, fueled by developments on the US elections and COVID-19 vaccine fronts. As we have been sharing over the last few weeks, the S&P 500 equally weighted index, the value index, and the small cap index continued their outperformance this week, whereas the international equities consolidated their outperformance. During this past week, the performance in equity markets was initially driven by the initiation of the formal transition process by the GSA for the Biden administration, and later by the choice of Janet Yellen as the next Treasury Secretary. The markets cheered the Yellen selection given her views on the need for further fiscal stimulus, as that increases the likelihood of a larger fiscal package, and also given her credibility within the Federal Reserve, which increases the likelihood of greater policy coordination. Given this macro backdrop, our investment themes over the medium term are driven by, number one, the greater visibility as it relates to 2021 economic recovery, given the availability of COVID-19 vaccine, which vastly reduces the downside risk scenarios. Number two, the preference for equities over fixed income, given the equities' greater beta to economic growth cycle, and the G3 central bank's continued commitment to sustained loose liquidity conditions. Number three, the attractiveness of value stocks from a fundamental perspective at a juncture at which the macroeconomic backdrop is turning positive for their performance. And four, the attractiveness of emerging market equities, both from a fundamental and technical perspective. As we look ahead to the next week, we believe the performance of equity markets is going to be driven by opposing forces of positive seasonality and momentum, combined with the need for markets to consolidate after an unusually strong November. From a macroeconomic data perspective, this week, the focus will be on the Chinese PMI indicators initially and on the US payrolls on Friday. Thank you for listening and good luck.